Hello and welcome to my channel. Today I want to talk about the algorithm. I want to talk about social media and just in general what's going on in the online space because I feel like there's been a really intense shift over the past couple years where spaces I found really inspiring and creative have started to feel like I'm just being shouted at, that there's a lot of clickbait, there's so many ads, and from a creator's perspective, this can be sometimes very disheartening. And from a consumer and a viewer's perspective, I'm just finding myself wondering if I even want to engage with social media. So I think it'd be an interesting conversation to have. I'm going to be doing a get ready with me, doing my makeup, as anybody who follows me knows. But if you're new here, just enjoy the conversation, enjoy the face painting. And I'd be very curious for anybody to comment down below if you have any similar thoughts, different thoughts. I just think this is the time to really start talking about what's going on in the online space. So yeah, let's get into it. So this topic has been on my mind a lot the past couple weeks, but especially just in general this year and stuff. As some of you may know from a previous video, I'm taking time off from work and the grind to just really focus on my channel. I'm in the midst of trying to write a novel. I've saved a bit of money and I just want to see how it goes and just really give it my all. Anyway, I've just been finding that a lot of things I've been posting, not a lot, but many things I've been posting have just not been shown to my audience. And I'm talking especially about Instagram right now because YouTube's a newer space for me and I'm actually finding it has a lot of the things I think Instagram and TikTok are starting to lose. So just shout out to YouTube there. And you'll have to also let me know if you feel the same. But Instagram in particular, like I have almost 18,000 followers, but like my posts are not being seen. Sometimes it'll be something I'm really proud of. Like I do pride myself on trying to do some like really creative kind of vibey makeup photos and reels that feel like they're creating like really an energy and like I really do love makeup because I approach it from like a very like more artistic and ritualized perspective. But anyway, I've just been finding nobody's seeing my posts. It'll be like 1,000 people reached or something. So then there comes the thoughts and the pressures of the algorithm, right? And so I'm like, what am I doing wrong? What am I doing wrong? Because as much as I want to create for the sake of creating, I'm also trying to find a way to make this a sustainable way to make a living, to build an audience, to build a community. So I am concerned a little bit about the numbers, right? So then I start trying new things that not that I don't like, but like feel like, oh, does the algorithm want this? I've been reading a lot of articles and like Reddit threads lately of so many like smaller creators who find that their reach is being choked, like Instagram just isn't showing their content. And this actually goes for just people in general on Instagram. Like I have my private account and I don't know about you guys, but like I'll scroll through it and it's just like ad, suggested post, maybe like one friend's post, ad. And it's just like, what happened to Instagram? What happened to this space where like I'd feel really inspired and like, I don't know, it's like not very captivating for me anymore. And then I'll go through my discover like section and sometimes I'm a bit appalled at what I see. Sometimes it's like, Instagram, do you even know me? Like, why are you showing me this stuff? I don't know, just like really sort of fake types of content, over filtered content, a lot of beauty stuff that just doesn't feel authentic to me and why I like beauty. And it just feels like, what is happening here? And I've read quite a few things about this, and a lot of people just think Instagram's prioritizing profit over people. That's the baseline of what it is. And if you want to make content and be successful, you got to make that kind of in your face, loud content to really get noticed. And I was reading that and just feeling so discouraged and just feeling lost. Like, what am I doing then? Because I don't want to do this. I don't want to just make things to have attention. I'm trying to foster something a bit more sustainable for myself, my creativity, and hopefully my audience to just create an inspiring place. So anyway, I am just very curious in general if you guys feel the same in terms of people on social media. TikTok, I actually like really gravitate towards more than Instagram, especially like during the pandemic is when I started going on that. But even now lately, like TikTok feels like it's just people screaming in my face, and I'll scroll and it's just like so loud, so loud. And I'm like, sometimes I'll just like exit out of the app and throw my phone away. I'm like, what am I doing? Like, this is not feeling good for me. And just in general, I feel like there's all these rules around being a creator. It's all about hustle culture. It's about post every day, post at this time. And I'm a person who more believes in quality over quantity. And I've just been struggling to find that middle ground, right? With like all this information out there and everybody saying this is the algorithm and this is how it works. So yeah, it's starting to feel like if you want to sort of win the social media game, both as a creator and maybe even a casual sort of poster, it feels like you have to be very sensationalist and very loud and basically sort of clickbaity. And this isn't to diss any creators who've been very successful and have managed to make this sort of style of content work for them. I think there's a place for all types of content. It's just, why does it feel like everybody has to be doing the same thing, right? And I started to get really like revved up about this when I was listening to this podcast I listen to called The You Up, if anybody listens, but they were talking about this article in Forbes about Bridgerton. You guys know I love Bridgerton. And it was like some stupid headline, like, are we ready for an interweight relationship or some stupid thing? They started talking about it, not in any way praising it or agreeing it with it, but like talking about how ridiculous it is. But it's like, Forbes knew what they were doing. They knew they were creating a clickbaity article that was going to get reactions and get people revved up. They did that on purpose. And this is what they were talking about in the podcast. And one of the podcasters, Jared Fried, was like, yeah, it's all about serving daddy algorithm. And I'm like, that hit me. It was like, it is. Everything these days is about what's the algorithm going to love and just turn out of this machine that is our attention spans, because it is an attention economy. Forbes gets to sell ad space on this article that people are clicking, so they're winning profit over people. So it starts to feel really disheartening, you know? It's like, is this what the internet has become? There's been a lot of also like nostalgic stuff coming up on my feeds, and like being a 90s kid and before the internet was really big, and sort of the real value of what we had, and we got to have fun with videos without it being like, will we go viral? And I think there's a lot of nostalgia and desire for some of that to come back. At my core, I think I do try and be an optimist. So I think and I hope there's a bit of a shift happening where people are looking again for content. And I hate the word content, so I almost want to say creations, but online spaces that are more diverse, calm, and it doesn't feel like just this space that's just a bunch of advertisements, people trying to sell things, right? And the internet's a great space in that it gives us all an opportunity to start a business, to be a creator. But what happens when we start to really create a very narrow version of what that is? And that's what I see happening on Instagram especially, and now I'm seeing a shift with TikTok. Yeah, this is why I ended up shifting over to YouTube this past year, because it feels like a more sustainable place. People are interested in long form content. People are interested in broader conversations rather than just reactions like TikTok comments often are, right? I don't know. Let me know if you agree with me on this, because it's something I've been thinking about a lot and noticing, and I'm curious how much other people have felt that, both as creators and as viewers. I'm also like concerned about like the effect that short form content has on our brains. At the most bare minimum sort of issues I feel like people experience now that there's so much short form video content is really short attention spans. I think a lot of people struggle to watch movies without like whipping out their phones, or like even sit down in conversations with friends and family, and just like in general being very present, because we are so used to this brain reaction, dopamine and cortisone and everything zapping through us as we scroll across these really short videos. Like you may be watching TikTok or Instagram scrolling and it's like something like makeup content. And maybe it's makeup content that causes you to have an emotional reaction because it's like, why don't I look like this person? Because a lot of the time it's also very overfiltered. And then you scroll and then it's something about the tragedies happening across the world, and then that's overwhelming, and then you scroll and then there's a cute dog or something and then you feel happy, and then you scroll and then it's something else that causes some kind of reaction, right? Worse than the short attention spans is sort of this people feeling really overwhelmed, stressed, anxious over the state of the world, and just like a general feeling of like deep anxiety, because I feel it. And it's why, I don't know, I have to sometimes take a break from the news cycle and stuff like that. Even that, you'll just go and look at your 24-hour news and it's just like, it's just so much all the time. As people on the internet, as we all are because you're watching this, we have to ask ourselves, at what point do we find a way to take control or just change what the landscape looks like? And how do we do that? So I'm starting to ask myself these questions from a creative perspective, but also as a consumer. And I think, in my opinion, I think it comes down to a lot of us taking more breaks from social media. From a creative perspective, I truly stand by creators always do their best work when they're doing it for themselves and when you're putting out things you're actually proud of, not just to serve the algorithm or hit a quota of how much to post. So going forward, that is my goal, especially like I kind of set goals for myself for like a month or something. I think for the rest of July and August, that's really going to be my goal, is just putting out things that I want to see on the internet, especially in terms of beauty content. And yeah, what do I want to do? I've taken this time off to sort of serve a deeper purpose within myself. Sometimes when it comes to makeup, it's like, how is makeup a bigger purpose or something meaningful? And I always have to backpedal on myself when I have those fears. Anyway, maybe that's a whole other video, and I think it will be, but it's really finding the empowerment, feminism, creativity, magic, and just hell yeah, being your own boss. Like, why is that a bad thing? And just like spreading good vibes. So long story short, that's my goal. I'm about just taking a bit of a step back, still being like a consistent creator, but like I'm done with the algorithm. I'm done serving this freaking machine that all it wants from us is our eyes and our reactions and an addiction. It's an addiction, right? Shopping's an addiction, scrolling's an addiction. And I just think short form content in particular has really, really aggravated this problem. And I'm finding it's a reflection of like some bigger problems happening in our world, like over consumerism, apathy, the internet being also such a wonderful place of information and representation. I ultimately think we can make a shift and make the internet a place that doesn't feel like something so scary and big and frustrating and terrifying. Okay, I'm gonna do my lipstick before I do my eyes because I've been really craving MAC Marrakesh and I wanna base the eyeshadow around it. Can't really talk while I do lipstick though. Also, it should be noted that some of my best performing videos and posts on here and on Instagram, TikTok have been when I wasn't even thinking about the algorithm at all, and I was just thinking about what I really felt like creating. And there wasn't the pressure of like, how is this post going to perform? I sincerely think every post of mine that did well, I wasn't thinking about the algorithm. So ultimately, as much as the algorithm is affecting social media and how it looks on like a broader scale, I still stand by, as creators, just do what you want when you want, because ultimately I still stand by authenticity wins. Sincerity wins, and you're always going to feel your best self when you put out something that you actually feel proud of, that you actually feel communicates something and that you feel passionate about. And that's just where the magic happens in general. And like, yeah, people can sort of feel that. Not all the time, but enough of the time. And so, yeah, that's why it's part of my goal in the next few months, just to really, really focus on putting things out that I feel proud of, that I will look back on and feel proud of too. Not like, oh, I just did that for the algorithm, you know? And this is coming from someone who's been there and been like tried posts that felt like was more what people want to see. And it hasn't worked out. So I'm like over it. And I'm over overthinking it. And I'm overthinking about the goddamn algorithm. Daddy algorithm needs to go to bed, you know? And like I was saying earlier, like I do feel like the internet in general right now feels like a reflection of the world at large, which is really ultimately late stage capitalism. And yeah, I just kind of hope that there is a shift happening in our world, because it's too much. It's all too much. And yeah, the internet just feels like the energy is go, 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 go. From social media to news networks. I've said this before and I'm going to say it again, and I'm probably going to say it for the rest of my life. We all need to slow down. Creators, slow down. It's just going to be a more sustainable path. Things are way too fast now. I think that's why we're so overwhelmed and burnt out all the time. No, I don't think. I know, it definitely is. Breathe, find your center, do more yoga, do the things you love. And it's all going to be a good feedback loop that way too, right? When you're really just slowing down in all aspects of your life. And it creates a good feedback loop for the people around you. It creates inspiration for the people around you. And it's sustainable. It's very hard for me to do an eye look and talk so much at the same time. But yeah, I did want to also touch on like YouTube as a platform. Here we are on YouTube, long form content. Thoughts? I'm liking it better. I'm liking the space here. My lovely audience, it just feels slower because it is slower, right? And I found like the YouTube algorithm, I suppose, like, while I'm sure tough to crack in its own ways, but like my actual like pages, my For You pages feel less like, you know, a bunch of ads and people screaming in my face. It's like I still have the sections where I can see people I actually follow, instead of Instagram just like hiding their content because it's not sensationalist enough. I do really appreciate that from YouTube, and I'm really just like loving the space here right now. I'm going to pop off camera just to do my lashes. Yeah, just share any final thoughts I have about this topic right now. Okay, this is the finished look. I'm really happy with it, mostly because it's something I wanted to create. Whenever I do makeup that I'm doing just for the algorithm, or thinking everyone wants to see something colorful and bold, I don't like wearing it. So anyway, just one more lesson of do what feels good to you. Honestly, this is like a conversation for everybody, from creators of all kinds online, from small businesses, from just people in their workplaces and creative practices in general. I just really think stay true to yourself. It's as cheesy as it is. And I was doing my mascara and I was thinking of the quote, "Be the change you want to see in the world." It's just so true, and I really stand by it. And just in my experience, I do have to remind myself, the most times I've gotten, you know, success on social media and in general, but has always been when I was operating from a place of being just really true to myself and what I wanted, and without feeling burnt out, without feeling disheartened, without feeling desperate. So yeah, I hope this was an interesting conversation for just anybody in general. And I hope it was at least even inspiring for creators or people, because I do think that the algorithm is not sustainable. And I think ultimately we can all just find ways to create the worlds we want to see online and have it be a reflection of the worlds we want to see in real life, because the internet is a really cool place, and it can be a really cool place of inspiration and wonder and interest. And yeah, I just want to reemphasize that for myself and for others. And I hope this has sparked some interesting thoughts for you. Definitely leave some comments down below I'd love to hear what you think, and I'd love to hear your experiences as creators, as businesses, as just people on the internet. Definitely let me know. And yeah, until next time, may you find yourselves a little bit of makeup magic in the meantime, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye, witches. And as promised, for those who stayed till the end, Toasty jump scare. Toasty always looks so freaked out, but I swear, he's very calm. Be the change you want to see in the world, baby.